Okay, this is Big Zeke here. Going to do this. I'm going to do uh, political one political video about this election thing, and I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But I just want to say about this whole Joe Biden. I'll support the president no matter what. But to sit here and here we find out on Saturday, which I think it's a day that the stock market they chose to do it when the stock market was closed, so stocks wouldn't react to a Biden presidency. But hopefully the president can come back and take this to the Supreme Court. This isn't the first time that this has happened with with an election. Like Al Gore, he won in 2000, and the Supreme Court gave it to George Bush, the crooked Republican Party at the time, or they still are crooks. Fox News and all these news channels that are really crooked too, including Fox News, which is fake, a bunch of fake news. So here we go. I'm gonna.
Well,
Oh, go ahead, Granddad. We're live now. Your camera's not on. You want to turn your camera on?
well, I'll turn it on. Wait a minute. There it is.
There you go. All right, so let's go ahead and start off. So this whole thing, Granddad. You know that they stole the election from Al Gore in 2000 when he ended up having more votes than George Bush did. And then Fox News went ahead and announced that George Bush had won the election, and then NBC and all the other mainstream media said that Gore had won. So it's the same, pretty much the same thing. And all these news channels, they got Giuliani on there, got many of these Republican poll watchers on there saying that they wasn't allowed in. They were all supposed to observe each ballot, and if they had a disagreement, on both parties were. The Democrat poll watcher and the Republican poll watcher are supposed to agree on each ballot, follow each signature, make sure everything was postmarked correctly, but they were not allowed to do that. Only the Democrat, and it was always in these Democrat-run cities like Atlanta, Philadelphia. This is where all the collusion is.
Well, when I was watching the election, I seen on Arizona, they just showed the map and just showed the blue on there, and then all of a sudden they just give it to Biden. They didn't even have no proof of what the election score was, and they just give it to Biden. And a lot of them was not even 50%, and they give it to Biden.
Like the big state of California. How do you determine
Well, California,
a Democratic state?
up there, they think they're going to get a free ride or something. I don't know. Or they're looking to give one free ride. I don't know. The people I know in California, especially one that I know, he thinks that Democrats are the greatest thing they ever had in this world. But don't they just, the best Democrat I ever had was John Kennedy, and he really helped the poor people. He started, but there's no John Kennedy in the Democratic Party right now. There's plenty of Stalin and people like North Korea, Russia,
Dictators.
China.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of people we got in Congress here. I never understand how that they could ever let Omar and all these communist socialists be even elected. See, we're supposed to be a free country, so if you're a free country, why do you let communists run as a party your system? Back in the 50s, they would put Omar and all them in prison, or execute them, or send them back to their own country. That's what we need to do now. They come to this country to be free, and that's all they come here, not to change America, but be a part of America and its freedom, not to change America. We don't need one to change America, but we need someone to change the system. And the reason Donald Trump is hated and despised so much is because of the system and the circle. Donald Trump is not part of the circle. All right. Bush was part of the circle. You take McCain. McCain was part of the circle. And he, after being a prisoner in Vietnam in a communist ruled country, he goes and takes a side with the Democrats. I never figured that out. And he said he was a Republican. We got a lot of Republican communists too. They're not all just because they call them. I just lost
your camera turned. You turned your camera off. Go
ahead.
ahead.
I did. I said, let me see here.
Oh well, let's get him back on there. He accidentally. Go ahead.
No. Your grandma called me and kicked it off. But
Granddad, another thing. Do you think they decided to announce it on Saturday because the markets were closed and it wouldn't interfere with the markets? I think that had something to do with it.
I don't know about the market.
Because the markets would react to a Joe Biden presidency. You turn your camera off again.
No, I don't turn it off. Somebody keeps calling me.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll just wait till they finish calling you.
Well, I could. I mean, it never fails. Either when I get to do a video, even on my Facebook, there's always a dog barking or someone interfering.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just can't talk to the camera without having someone to talk to. It's hard to do that because I look like I'm talking to myself. But as you know, I've done talk shows. I like talk shows, and when I used to have a talk show back in the 90s, late 90s, I had it's called America in Decline, but we didn't even know how declined America was. At that time, Clinton was in office. Give Clinton credit, we did have a good economy when Clinton was in there. And of course, Clinton, he was above the law, just like the rest of them are. All Democrats are above the law, but they can say Donald Trump ain't above the law, but they're the only ones that's above the law. They just say it. And the most of the things that they accuse Donald Trump of, they're guilty of themselves. They're doing the same thing. As far as Joe Biden, who would believe that tax you to death and give the money away? Who would believe that? Who would believe that anyone in their right mind would go out there and give their vote to someone that wants to destroy the economy and give away every tax dollar that we could collect? And, you know, gas, oil, they want to get rid of that, clean. That's a lie. They ain't gonna get it. How many, I bet you if you got out there and you checked around and you done your research, you'd find the Democrats own stock and oil.
Oh yeah.
You'd find, and you know, you talk about pollution. They're so crazy about pollution. How come they don't stop all this pollution being dumped in the ocean? and animals dying from straws and stuff like. Oh, they're going to do away with the straws. Oh, I forgot. That's going to solve everything. It's foolish people with the stupidest ideas I ever heard in my life coming out here trying to make out like they're going to do something for this country. They ain't going to do nothing for nobody but their own self. That's their goal is to do something for their self.
Somebody sent
And
a question on here, Granddad. They sent a question. They said, "What do you think the end result will be?"
I think that the Democrats will try to take the Senate, and I think they'll steal the Senate. And I always thought Joe Biden was going to win. I told you that,
Hmm.
and you said, "Oh no, he can't do it." But
Well, he
I
he
know,
didn't actually
I
win. He
have,
cheated, I think.
I know how corrupt these Democrats are. I mean, if you go, just suppose you go and you examine what happened, you know, before Donald Trump was even sworn in, everybody was accusing Donald Trump of the same thing that they're guilty of. Do you actually think that Russia was involved with Donald Trump? No, Donald Trump
No.
wouldn't know Russia. The Democrats was involved with Russia. They're all taking payoff from Russia and China. Biden makes out like he had received a dime. He probably hadn't. It's hid somewhere in one of these islands somewhere.
Offshore
Or
accounts.
it's hid in one of his family members. His money is tied up in his family somewhere. His cut is somewhere else. You think he's going to run for president and leave it open for somebody to find it? And Hunter, you know, I know more about the oil business than Hunter does. I do business with oil companies. I know what they're doing, how they're doing it. I know the things that they use to drill the wells and all that.
Mm.
Because I do work for them sometimes. But I don't get paid a big bunch of money because my daddy is a vice president like Hunter is.
The camera
It's
off again.
easy. It's easy to get. It's easy. Yeah, I know. It's easy for them to, pay a vice president. So now, what are they paying them for?
Right.
Let me ask you, what are they paying? What are they paying the Biden family for?
Right.
It
Granddad,
has to be
here's another
for.
question that came in. This is from Mary Jo in Ocala. I think it's Ocala, Florida. Can you hear me, Granddad? I think we lost him. Hey, can you hear me, Granddad? I lost your sound. See if your microphone phone might be on mute. Hold on. Let's try. Call failed. Can you hear it, Granddad? Still can't hear you. let's see. Fix this here.
Can you hear me
Yeah,
now?
there we go. I got it.
You
Okay,
hear me
anyway,
now?
yeah, I hear you now, Granddad. Can you hear
I
me?
can hear you.
Oh, my goodness. Can you hear me now? How about now? No sound, huh? Let's hang up and try it again. Okay, how about now, Granddad? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Oh, it's a signal.
Okay, can we hear that now?
Yeah, you hear me?
I hear you now. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yeah, well, I
Anyway,
was
let's answer this
interrupted by a
woman's.
phone call.
Yeah, it's your phone. Let's answer this woman's question. She said that. She said that. If if the president elect, which is Joe Biden, if he's sworn in and takes office, will you support him anyway? Will you support the president? You hear me? Can you hear me, Granddad?
Are you cutting out? You have to tell me that again.
She said, if
What'd you say now?
if Joe Biden's sworn in, will you still support him anyway
Hello?
as the president? We're gonna have to do this again. We keep having you're having some phone
Biden?
line. Yeah, Joe Biden. Yeah, will you support him?
I wouldn't support Joe Biden. Anybody can't remember who he's running against for president. Why would I want to vote for him?
Right.
Besides, why would I want to vote for some angle with China, making deals and making that money,
Right.
and Ukraine and all, sitting on a TV stage and telling everybody that he just
Have any chance or one last thing, huh? What do you think?
say what?
What do you think the outcome will be?
I think Joe Biden, he gets in office. I think Harris will take over in the Democratic Party. I think we'll lose the Senate because they're doing so much crooked stuff. I think we won't have a chance, and America will be turned over completely to a socialist. And some people don't think that'll happen. Well, let me tell you something, the way the socialist does it. They bring in the Chinese, they bring in the Russians, and they'll bring their soldiers in and they'll dominate the United States, just like they're doing in Venezuela and Cuba and all the rest of the places. And people are so ignorant that they can't see that.
Right.
But, maybe they want a free ride. I don't know. But all free rides run out.
They run out of people's money to give away.
You got to have an economy to pay the taxes. It's a good economy. You got to have people at work. You can't have people laying around having babies and laying around and expecting the government to keep them up and going out here and drinking, partying, and screwing, and then turn around and kill their baby because they made a mistake. The baby's not guilty. That's another thing that makes me sick to my stomach.